Sup? What's up, peeps? We're back talking about Frankenstein. This is still introductory material, but I wanted to get us started thinking about literary analysis and also about themes, because themes is a big thing when you're looking and analyzing literature. Eventually, you all will be writing essays where you analyze Frankenstein. So, what's involved in doing that? All right, I'm going to suggest you a couple things here at the very start that you can use as you're reading through the essay. Because here's the deal, folks. When you're reading this novel, read it to have fun, read it to enjoy it, but you're also reading it as a critic and you're reading it as a writer. So you're going to read it as something you're eventually going to write about, correct? Okay, yes, that is what you're reading. This book, Digging into Literature, was written by Joanna Wolf and Laura Wilder, and I'm borrowing their ideas from them. What they did basically is these two scholars, is they looked at a whole bunch of essays written by people who analyze literature. And they looked at all these essays to see what these literary scholars did, right? So their idea was, if you and I do what the literary scholars do, then we'll be doing literary analysis, and our literary analysis essays will work better. So if you're writing to a literature scholar, such as a college English professor, then you're writing to someone who, when he or she analyzes literature, he or she does these 5 things. You're writing to someone who expects your essay to include these 5 components too. So it makes sense to know and use them. All right, here's the 5 things. And I'm going to go over them kind of quickly today. It makes an interpretive claim that's debatable, supported with evidence from the text, which in our case is the novel Frankenstein, argues for a thesis about the text, Frankenstein, and explores the complexity of the text, again, Frankenstein. So here they are. I'm going to say these kind of quickly. 1, you make an interpretive claim. You make an interpretive claim about it as literature, right? So when you're talking about it, you're going to talk about things like characterization, plot, setting, something like that. You make an interpretive claim. Secondly, the interpretive claim has to be something that's debatable. It's got to be something over which people disagree. And there's lots of things that people disagree with or about in Frankenstein. So that's not as hard for you to find a spot like that, though it might seem like that right here at the beginning. You then support your debatable claim with evidence from the text. We'll talk about this more later. I see sometimes that folks, they just really want to provide summary of the plot. Okay, a good summary is a great thing, and I'm proud of you when you can do it. But you want to do more than summarize. You want to analyze. And you do that with evidence from the text, which the gold standard for literary scholars is brief quotations from whatever text it is you're looking at, which in this case, again, is Frankenstein. Then, of course, you're going to argue for a thesis about the text. You guys have been doing this, so you understand about theses, whatever the plural of it is. And then finally, you explore the complexity of the text. So this is like why if all people do is summarize the plot, there's no complexity to that, okay? It's good to write a summary, but you got to get into complexity. And if you're thinking, well, what's complex about this novel? Anytime you have a question where you go, I'm not really sure what's going on, how does this work? That might be something that's an area of complexity, and you should just take a note, and that might be something you'll explore later. So, continue with this idea of a little bit of literary analysis, and let's move into the idea of themes here. J. Paul Hunter, he is the editor of the Norton edition of Frankenstein that we've been using in class. This is his intro. There's a PDF online for you guys. He describes it as a central narrative of creative overreaching and bitter disillusionment. Did you hear I say creative? I almost drop off the E. I'm not sure why I do that. Creative, overreaching, and bitter disillusionment. That's pretty good. He talks also in his introduction about 2 big influences on the novel. And one is Mary Shelley's family life, which we've already discussed and is super complex, and Mary Shelley's reading life. Mary Shelley was a reader, and I mean like she read and read. She didn't just read fluff either. Not that there's anything wrong with reading fluff, but she read really hard stuff. And by the time she's 16, she has read so much. I once had a student who told me, I think she had read 5,000 books. I thought, I don't even know how many books I've read, but not 5,000. So Mary Shelley, big time reader. Here are some of the themes from J. Paul Hunter's introduction, and you can look in there for a little more guidance. He talks about in the novel, we'll have creativity, ambition. We've already talked about that in class. Responsibility, duty, family, huge. Friendship, huge. Authority, education. That's a really cool thing because the novel almost begins with him at college, remember? And Robert Walton talks about his education and so on. And social integrity. I don't know what that means. So look it up and someone tell me. If you're looking for, there's another way I say it. I was raised in Indiana, so I say for some reason. This is a really good website. It's called Literary Terms. I'm circling it up here. Literary Terms Net, and it will give you nice definitions. So if you're wondering, well, what is character? What is plot? Just go to that website. That's really good. But they do talk about theme, and a theme is a central idea, topic, or point of story, etc. You can have major themes, minor themes, the big theme, whatever you want. But as we're looking at Frankenstein, theme can be a really super cool thing for you to look at. This is another really good website, and there's a link to it online. It's up here. You can see the web address. And they just have so many resources here, including like the text of Frankenstein. So if you never bought the book, it's up there. There's a plot summary about Mary Shelley. These are going to be super useful for you guys here in this section. Character studies and themes. And themes is the one we're kind of looking at today. I just want to show you an example of it. If you click on themes, you'll get all of these and more. And if you click on those, you'll get even more information. So like here, I clicked on adversarial relations. And when you click on those things, you'll get even more information. You'll find the place where it's talked about in the novel. And sometimes there's a really brief little commentary that takes place as well. So to sum up, here's 5 criteria for literary analysis. Be thinking about these as you read through the novel. Have a good day, y'all.